All right, so going through this slide actually helps summarize pretty much everything that we talked about for the plants, the different transitional steps. Definitely know the plant life cycle, because I can guarantee you there's going to be questions related to this. In fact, my short answer question might be related to this. I'll ask you to draw out this thing from scratch, basically. So I'll definitely study this life cycle. I can guarantee you that one of the short answer questions will be a life cycle question. It could be either a plant life cycle or it could be a fungus life cycle. So I would definitely know those two. Yeah.
So for this one, you just want us, so the important parts on this guide is basically the alternation of generation.
Yes, so I'll probably give you a word bank and put the words in order and draw arrows to each.
Oh, okay.
So it'll be a little bit easier than you think. But you would still have to understand the general cycle.
Yeah.
Right, so I'll give things like sporophyte, meiosis, spores, gametes, gametophyte, and ask you to label which one is diploid, which one is haploid. So, yeah, definitely know this life cycle. All right, yeah. Fungi. All right, so non-vascular plants, seedless, non-vascular. Remember, they are all gametophyte dominant. They're all really small. They lack vascular tissue. So again, just know the general characteristics of this group. I think I listed everything on the board when I was going through it. And it's not on the slide. All right, seedless vascular plants, they do not have seeds, but they do have vascular tissue now, so that allows them to grow very tall, but their spores are still flagellated, or their gametes are still flagellated, and because of that, they have to utilize water for fertilization. Okay, so we talked about that life cycle. Next, we have the pollinating plants, so that includes the gymnosperms and the angiosperms. So the potential question is, which of the following groups of plants utilize pollen for reproduction? Mosses, ferns, liverworts, pines, none of the above.
None of the above.
It's actually pines,
Oh,
pine trees.
I thought they were seeds.
Yeah, they have seeds too, but they also produce pollen. Remember how the gymnosperms, they have the male cones and the female cones?
Oh, yeah.
The male cones release pollen,
Okay.
right?
What are the things on the ferns again? Those little
The
dots?
sori. These things.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so remember, the gymnosperms and the angiosperms utilize pollen, but only the angiosperms produce flowers.
Wait, say that one more time.
The gymnosperms and angiosperms utilize pollination, but only the angiosperms produce flowers, hence why they're called flowering plants. The gymnosperms are these four categories: the ginkgos, the cycads, the phaedras, and the conifers.
Okay.
Yeah.
So the conifers and pine trees in general are all considered birophytes,
No, they're gymnosperms.
but is birophyte the one before it and then it branched off into gymnosperms?
No, bryophyte is its own separate category.
Okay.
The bryophytes includes the non-vascular plants, the mosses and things like that.
Right, okay.
Right, so remember the gymnosperms are mostly the cone-bearing plants. They produce cones, both male and female cones. The male cones release the pollen grains, the female cones produce the seeds. I don't think there's a question related to the production of a seed, but I would know in general what turns into the seed and what turns into the fruit. I'll definitely know that.
So would that be the 2N gamete turns into the seed and then the fruit is
I think
the...
more specifically that's related to the flowering plant, which I'll get into.
Okay.
Alright, I'll just recognize the different members of each of the plant categories. So know that ferns are examples of seedless vascular plants. Know that a ginkgo is an example of a gymnosperm. So know the different members of each category of plant. So we talked about the ginkgos, the cycads, the conifers. I kind of skipped the ephedra, so don't worry about that. Alright, and then we have the angiosperms, which are the flowering plants. These are the only groups of plants that actually produce flowers. right? Know the anatomy of a flower and know what each part of the flower turns into or what it produces. So know that the ovule, once fertilized, turns into the seed. Know that the ovary, once fertilized, turns into the fruit. All right, so definitely know what these two turn into, and know that the anthers are what release pollen.
With the ovules, the seed,
Ovule is the seed,
and the
ovary is the fruit. Like if you look at this structure, think about like all these tiny little things, and when you're eating a fruit. When you eat a fruit, it's gonna look similar to this, right? Where the internal parts will have the seeds, and then the outer part is that fleshy portion of the fruit.
Okay. Is there gonna be a picture of the flower?
No, I'm not gonna give you a picture, but I would ask like, which of the following does the ovule turn into?
Okay.
And one of the answers will be C. Alright. So yeah, in general, like I'm not gonna test you on this complicated life cycle of a plant. This is a little bit too much. But I would know what structure produces what for a flowering plant. Alright? Any questions about plants? Yeah.
So what is the category ginkgos are in again?
Ginkgo, that's a gymnosperm.
Jim.
So remember, the bryophytes or the non-vascular plants are the mosses, the hornworts, and the liverworts. 3. The seedless vascular plants are the ferns and the lycophytes. The gymnosperms are the ginkgos, the cycads, and the conifers. And then the angiosperms are pretty much every plant that has flowers. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the plants.